going on?
Hello, Scott, Andy, hey everybody.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Scott. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, happy Trade of the Week Tuesday. So we're back again, go over some content we got prescribed, and let's just get right into it as people continue to file in. The people who have seen these first few slides before, but the disclaimer, just a reminder, Andy and I trade our own accounts. We're also employees of Trade Ideas. We're going to give our own opinions, but those opinions are not that of Trade Ideas, and they definitely should not be construed as your exclusive financial advice. It's just our opinion. So that's good. The lawyers are happy. We continue to add more and more accessibility type content, especially with Chris in the afternoons that he's doing. And primarily, it's there to help new users adapt to the learning curve of our platform. I'm going to have some more words on new users later and the best way to try and adapt, but our product definitely helps people shorten their learning curve because there's a lot to learn out there when you first start trading. And it's primarily Barry's live trading room that he's moderating pre-market all the way into close to the close, and then Chris takes over the stream at the end of the day as well. But we will also jump in at 12 Eastern, either myself, Andy, Jamie, Michael, or Chris. But then Chris is there every day again at 3:30. So, this is the link you guys want. I'll just forward that right there at the bottom. That's the link that redirects you all day long to the live room. And we now have a new video director software where we can come and go throughout the day. It's much easier to hand off. So, Barry has invited us, if we ever see something we really like, please come in and break through in his broadcast, and we can show our screen and say hello and then duck back out. So you might start seeing more of that, but you really need to tune in. It's a great ancillary free product to learning the platform. Otherwise, you're just kind of left to figure it out on your own. Not all of us are good at doing that. And just a reminder, one of our newer race features, I'm going to touch on this a little bit in the presentation I've got for you today, again, is stock racing. Just a new way to visualize data, especially or only on our top lists, but soon to come on the AI and likely Brokerage Plus. It's a great tool for monitoring positions and just monitoring data in real time, just using the simple substitution of the stock car racing. If you haven't seen that, like I said, I will demonstrate that. Dave Mabe is our basically he's the director of CTO. I think he is now Chief Technical Officer, and he also wrote an ebook on his strategy. There's many different ways to try and approach the market, and this is his way. And if you haven't read his ebook yet, it is the most recent that we published, and you can see at the bottom /strategy to download that ebook and get in the mind of our Chief Technical Officer, Dave Mabe. So we'll kick it off again with the reminder that human and machine are needed to work together by themselves. They're just not as powerful. The machines, the algos, they can make sense of fire hose of data, for instance, in our industry, finance, stocks, and curate the fire hose down to what you want to see, whether you're a swing trader or a scalper. You really can't do it without both, and you certainly can't turn a machine on and let it do it for you. The human has to be there to supervise and to make the final decisions. And that's really how AI and most of that technology works in every space right now, whether you're a cancer researcher or an astronomer or whatever. The AI, with the technology we have now, points you in the right direction and gives you the best platform to make a good decision off of the data you want to see. So that's our theme, as it always is. Today, we've got a couple things to present, as I said. I'll do the market recap. We're not going to do the AI. We're going to let Andy talk about something else. For those who haven't heard about it, there's a new product that's actually already available, but I'll save that for his discussion. Quiet trading of the weeks, AYR, IYR, and RIG. We'll go through those. And then, as I mentioned a moment ago, Dave Mabe, the CTO, he asked me to come in today to the developers meeting and kind of educate the departments here. The traders and the education and the marketing and all that. They don't really talk to the developers that much, and the developers know they're building something great, but they've never really seen it in action or how it's applied. So I'm literally going to take that same presentation that I gave our development team today. which is how I use trade ideas and what my process is to come up with a trade of the week. I'm going to revisit a scan I talked about a few weeks ago because it came alive today. We'll talk about that, and then time permitting, we'll go to the quarter. We'll go 45 minutes to 5:45 Eastern, and we'll fill in that remainder with any chart requests you guys have. So hang on to those until we get there. And just to remind you, we do have a zero commission trading experience with E-Trade now with our Brokerage Plus auto trading. And the same goes with Interactive Brokers. However, they are not commission free quite yet, but E-Trade is. So we'll come back to those. I wasn't supposed to talk about those too soon. I will minimize that. And let's get right into, I've already got the cues up, and let's start with them. Because I made kind of a call over the weekend on social media, and the call is still intact, and that is the NASDAQ is kind of trapped here. And what I mean by that, of course, is that 50-day moving average is our general health of any stock or index. And this is day 6 now of us just chopping and grinding back and forth underneath. And now we've got the 10 SMA meeting a convergence of today's highs, I wanted to say, and basically that's where the selling kind of jumped in at the end of the day. So tomorrow is going to be interesting. I'm not going to make any predictions for tomorrow, but I'm just going to say that as long as we are chopping back and forth underneath this key 50 and this declining 10, anything can happen. I'd be careful being long, but let's just wait and see what tomorrow brings. And I say that because this market has had a really funny way of trapping the shorts and then coming up with a big green bar and then a big follow-up bar the next day. Okay, that was one instance. Big green bar here, little follow through the next day. Big green bar reversal here, a lot of follow through for a few days. So the market has been doing a great job at catching the shorts leaning to the downside, but they're putting up a real good fight. And the fight hasn't been won yet, so we're just going to sit back and see who wins the fight and then see what tomorrow brings. I will say, however, you can see the NASDAQ is a bit lower in the aftermarket, primarily due to Netflix absolutely getting spanked on horrible earnings and bad discussions, but IBM is kind of holding up their end of the bargain. They're a little bit higher after hours. So that was the NASDAQ Q. They're the ones that bounced back the most today. The things that were working, the commodities and oils and metals, they did an about face today. And the things that were not working, the tech stocks, well, they did an about face and went up today. And the SPY also enjoyed that as well. What the SPY has going for it is it did reclaim its 50. So that's a big red flag for people who want to be leaning really short. And it also closed above its declining 10. But I feel that there's probably a date, maybe not, maybe tomorrow, I don't know, but there's probably a date with this 200-day moving average. It just feels like that flat 200-day is going to be a brick wall. Probably challenge it tomorrow on the SPY, we'll see. But that level to me is just as significant as that 50 and the 10. So we've got some resistance coming up here. Let's see if the market wants to play that same game where it just basically gaps up and screws the shorts on the open and forces a second day of short covering, or will we do like we did back here just 2 days ago? Big green bar, big red bar. I don't know. I don't want to predict, but I like to wait for the closing candles to see what we need to talk about. So I'll wait till tomorrow's closing candle and see how that looks. The IWM, lastly, is just kind of meandering down here in no man's land as well. And you can see the 50-day moving average coming into play there, there, and there. So very significant correlations that I find all the time using the 50 on either indexes or charts, and just try to keep it simple. Anything you want to add over there, Andy?
Let's see, Steve. No, you you covered it pretty well, man. I mean, it's a messy market right now. It really is. I still kind of in the bearish camp, but boy, this could chop and slop for a while. So I think this is the market to be nimble in. Take profits quick in either direction, and what used to be 5 to 10 days may only be 2 or 3 days now. So it's just that kind of market, and you got to adjust to it.
Yeah, it's hard to get things to go in your direction for longer than a day and a half, it seems like.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. All right, I'll steal it from you and talk about the trader's eye for a bit.
Yeah.
I thought this would be a good idea for today, just to kind of to look kind of what we go through every morning. And I think I've showed you our little spreadsheet that each one of us will go in and drop ideas on. And then what I do is I scrape them and I put them in a symbol list. And I call that symbol list the eye watcher. Okay. So the eye watcher today looked like it had about a dozen names in it. And of those dozen, these 4 are the ones that we actually kind of submitted into the eye channel. If you guys are not familiar with the eyes channel, all you got to do is look into your channel. Doc channel bar is where you want to go these days, and go to the trader's eye, and you will see these basically accumulate in real time. Okay, when I enter a symbol in our back office, it takes at the most 30 seconds for you to get that idea. And I'm usually pretty good about getting them in there. I don't like chasing those big old 15-minute bars unless I got a lot of conviction in the morning. But I can say this for sure. Plug went in there, I think today right around 12 27 10 or something like that. I think I entered in there, so a nice little move in plug. Now remember, these are swing trades, okay? So these are not day trades. LWLG was the first one that went in today, and probably around 1190, that level. I know I did the first 30 minutes, so nice move in LWG today. EXR was kind of a little bit of a chase this morning, but you can see it got right out of the gates. But I did think I entered it around 216, and still some nice alpha to be had in that one. X didn't really get a whole lot of X today. I think I entered it around 37.40 or something like that. But just that one just could not get going, which I'm really surprised. Remember, these swing trades, and if you look at Nucor's had a really nice move, and X is still kind of stuck in the mud. So I would not be surprised, especially if Nucor continues to hold up, that X doesn't find its way back to this high going back over here at the first of the month.
Can I
Time will
add
tell.
something?
Sure.
So this is what Andy's talking about, is you don't want to lose track of these, because tomorrow is going to be a whole fresh set of symbols, but that doesn't always mean that the stuff was called yesterday and the day before should be lost track. So guys, don't forget there's a heart symbol in your chart for a reason. All you have to do
There
is
you
click
go.
that heart and pop it into your My Liked symbol list,
Yep.
and
Just like this.
you'll be staring at it every day for a couple days
Yep.
until you take it back out.
Yeah. So guys, we're really excited about this. There's been some great calls. The ones yesterday was kind of tough because a lot of the energy were very strong, and of course the energy, you can't help that. If you're playing strong charts, and if you look at every one of these going into the open this morning, they all had potential. I still like this one. The shipper's been doing really good, and I love the way it was basing down here on its 200 day. It never got called because it was such a big gap and go this morning. I didn't want to chase after when it's in a downtrend like that. But I think Michael put it a nice looking chart, but I think I told these guys over and over, I'm not putting biotechs in there. CXM, this is one that I found that wicked right at its 10 period moving average. Now this is one you can see I have alerts in these things. So this one was never called. It never took out the prior day's high. This is one that'll probably be in there tomorrow as well. Like that setup. Earnings on this date right here in the afternoon had a big push, and now it's come back and it's catching this 10 period moving average. So at CXM, keep on your radar for tomorrow. A lot of beautiful charts, guys. You're gonna see when we call these. Now, we prefer to kind of give you these ideas and not just give you our whole watch list, because there's a lot of traders in here that, some of these things, they don't work and they go to operation. They never the other direction, and then people are stuck upside down in them and wondering why our pick didn't work. Well, it's probably because it never really triggered. There's a reason we put them in here, and then there's a reason we actually put them in the eye. So we're probably going to stick with this format. But anyway, Steve, thought I'd give people a little bit of a look.
I call it curating the curated. And by doing that, Andy probably is really saving a lot of people a little bit of a headache, letting us get a double filter through there, because as you said earlier, some of these stocks will race up in the first 15 minutes, then reverse right back down. What we're looking for is just a good strong opening.
Hmm.
Ideally, and if it's on our watch list, if it's something that flashes down and back up, that's even better. We just
Well,
want
yeah,
to keep people out of chasing stocks and wait for that first 15, 20 minutes to let all the dust settle and just trust, we've got over 50 years of experience between
hmm,
the two of us here looking at charts. Let us figure out which ones might be best in play. So
yep. It's like plug this morning. It gapped
there,
up.
there's
Yep.
there's the
And then
question.
I was patient. I was patient, and then boom, I entered it around. I took it personally too, at 27.12, and it was a great trade today. But you had a great
What I'm
question.
what I meant to say was
Yeah,
Rakesh asked the question that I'm trying to avoid people asking, and then Bill asked the same
exactly.
question. I know you guys want it, but for now, this is how it's going to be. We're just going to
Yeah.
curate the curated.
Yeah, think of it this way. Okay, the eye is really our cause. Okay, there may be a lot of ideas in here. Right now in this market, we only have maybe a dozen or so like this. But if we get back into a nice trending market, I'm not sure
Maybe
when that'll ever come again. This may have 20 ideas in it. Okay, but we want to present the best ideas because we're going to be keeping track of these and in our back office and things like that. So for now, just this is a personal symbol list, guys. So it's not something that is our global symbol list. This one right here is our global symbol list that you have access to, and you can find that in the traders channel. Now, there may be days where you come in and there are, uh, 10 ideas in here, but remember these are swing trades, and maybe down the road I could share this with you right now, but you're not going to have access to the symbol list. Maybe down the road, we decide to go a different direction where we'll also give you our ideas as well as what's presented in the eye. That's something we'll try to figure out. But this may end up being a service, a standalone service on its own at some point. And if that's the case, all they're going to be getting is the eye. So we're trying to kind of stick with a pattern right here.
we're trying to put bad trades and trader losses ahead of just throwing everything out there that sticks, because
Hmm.
some people will just buy everything and there's going to be red on the watcher. Going to be
Yeah,
3 or 4 things every day that didn't work. Well, what if you allocated some of your capital to that? We're just trying to keep people out of trouble. That is more important to
exactly.
us than trying to feed people winners. But we want to feed people winners, but we want to do it in a good educational uh, mode that's got a lot of checks and balances to it.
Right. And see, here's the problem. Yes, there's a lot of traders out here, especially in these webinars that are very good traders, and they probably know how to manage the eye watcher. But we have a lot of people that are probably going to be coming, especially when we start promoting this more, that are not experienced traders, and so we can't like share the watcher with the ones we think that are experienced. It's just can't do it. Our
We'll
back
figure
office
out a
won't
good
allow us to do
system.
that. We will. It'll get better, but hey, for right now, you're getting some great ideas in real time and for swing ideas. All
Yep.
right, Steve,
All right.
I'll send it
Sure.
back to you.
Okay, so as I said, it's been kind of a quiet week with Trade of the Week. IYR is basically kind of out of play because it was supposed to have triggered. Let me just do this. It was supposed to have triggered there, but it didn't. It never, ever triggered. Um, and then it just kind of fell off. But now, I would say this. Somebody out there, you might want to put this on your watch list for tomorrow. It's a sector that's been holding up. I mean, when I went through the SPY and the Qs, did they look as good as the IYR? No, they were under their 50, under their 200, respectively. So this could be still. It's not officially a trade of the week anymore, but it still could be something you want to watch. And as you see, I've got a little trigger right there. Actually, need to reset that. I'll reset that right there. So no trade last week, but I would say this: keep it on your radar for tomorrow. Could have some follow through, which brings us to rig, which is the second attempt. I know, the second attempt. We have been really, really waiting for this thing to make its move, and redraw that. Our first attempt was back here, was to buy on a 10 SMA, and we got blown out the same day, so it was a day trade stop out. But since then, it has created this little simple wedge pattern, and sure enough, the price was 470. Put that right there. So it did trigger yesterday, kind of a little green doji spinning top, and put in a little red doji spinning top just a little bit below. But what I see is this 5-day moving average here. I talked about this before. It's 130 periods on a 15-minute chart. I was very happy to see that that came into play. This is why I call this moving average a level of interest. And that level of interest passed the test that it had midday today and held. So I really want to see this thing continue to hold that 5-day moving average. But like Andy mentioned, we got kind of caught up in the downdraft of the sector rotation, and oil and energy stocks. They were red today. The other stuff was software and home builders and retail, and all that stuff was green today. So it was a major flip of rotation, and that's what this market does. Maybe some of you are old enough to remember the old Ed Sullivan show with the guy trying to spin 10 plates at a time on these bamboo sticks, and one plate starts to wobble and he runs over and spins it again and gets that one going. That's kind of what this market feels like right now, as they just go from sector to sector rotation. So not going to give up on rig. I still, for instance, there's a great chart here. Bore does the same thing. Limited drilling in oil, gas wells, the same thing rig does. They work on oil and gas services through well services, same thing as rig. But where I think we are, I hope we are on rig, is right there, because that is the wedge from which Bore broke out of, okay? And look at it, it went on to do some nice things with some good volume. So we're still just kind of waiting for our friend, the lagger here, rig, to confirm the story. Again, the story is oil energy is tight right now, and we need to be doing everything we can to open spigots and wells. And these are deep water rigs, they service them. So if we can just get a nice day where this decides to come alive, we're still alive here in that wedge. And again, on this one, the risk management is really down here, this blue 50-day moving average, but I wouldn't be too concerned about it because it's been kind of a nice buffer when it gets close to it. So hopefully that will continue to hold, but we're just looking for a nice wedge break continuation on that. And the sector was a lot of headwinds today over there, so that made it kind of difficult. All right, I'm not going to spend as much time as I did this morning with all of that, but I'm going to show you what I showed the development department today. And it's just kind of to open their mind on what it is they're building and who they're building it for and how we use it. And then I started off talking about the new user, and this is not only a new user, but could be a new trader as well. New users, new traders, they've got beginner's luck, and they become addicted to the thrill of trading. Let's face it, it's a dopamine carnival out there when you're having a really good day, and you remember that feeling. And so a lot of people are daily coming into this industry, but they've got to come in with the right expectations, because the learning curve is very long. That's why I mentioned, please visit Barry's trading room, visit our 1-hour webinars that we do during the day, where we take open and answer questions rather than a format like this where we're just giving you agenda-driven content. Risk management is one of the first things most new traders don't fully understand, and that's really where you start to shore up the holes in your trading strategy. And the TI platform, it can be intimidating to many users when they first open it up. So that's again why we try to encourage people to go to Barry's room and come to the Q&A and learn how to use this program for you. The way I use it is not going to be the same way Barry uses it, or Chris. Those guys are much more active day traders. I'm a slow, old fart dinosaur, gray-haired swing trader, so I like to slow things down. And when it comes down to it, many new users, they just want ideas. And we just talked about that with Andy. And I know a lot of people are going to like that. It's one of the reasons the AI has an allure as well. But you still need to pave your own road and create your own methodology and your own strategy. So here we go on the journey of a trader. I think everybody in here has experienced the start, the euphoria, the dopamine rush of making money on your screen and seeing it in your account. And a lot of times the trading gods are just like the golf gods. They have a funny way of getting you hooked with some beginner's luck. It happens in casinos too. You get beginner's luck and then you're hooked to that dopamine fix. But what happens to generally the average person taking the journey of a trader, that beginner's luck quickly turns into overconfidence, and there's no risk management, and it wanes into some losses. And this is where the wheat gets separated from the chaff. Some people are going to say, yeah, you know what, this is not for me. I'm out of here. I don't want any part of this. And other people are challenged. They say, well, wait a minute, this felt so good. I'm going to figure my way out of this. And they have a lot of pain Actually, for me and Andy, this was a 6-month venture, wasn't it, Andy? We both kind of went when we first started trading. That was about what our accounts did the first 6 months.
Oh
Am I
yeah.
off? Am I off on
No,
that? No.
no,
Did
no.
we see?
Six
Did we see
six
other
to eight.
people?
It
Did
was,
we see
yeah,
other people
six
do
to
that
eight
too?
months. Oh
Yes, we
yeah.
did. Yeah.
So a lot
Well,
of
this
people
is
blow up too.
well. Those are the people that just didn't learn. They just kept learning.
Right.
They didn't turn around and decide, okay, I want to do this, but this is painful. And they reach the learning and improvement phase. And I'll just read this for you. This is the point where most traders give up because of the slow progress and the feeling of having failed. And some people don't like that. So the ones that stick with it and understand it, and hopefully, boy, hopefully they took it slow in this curve. I saw people come in and turn in this beginner's luck, and they start pressing it up 2 to 3 times, and it just is the worst thing they could ever do because they haven't experienced everything. Hopefully, during this period, you're doing it with very light shares until you realize, hey, I better take this seriously and learn what I'm doing here. So then this is the back and forth where you're learning, and then you start to bring in, as I mentioned earlier, the first major component of successful management is risk management. We've got to have risk management, whether it's a hard stop or a mental stop or a reason. You have to know where your out is every single time. Because once you become a deer in the headlights and you get caught up and you go start reading the Yahoo forums of what a great business model this is, and the CEO is so cool, and this is going to be a great product, but the chart just keeps trending down, worst thing you can do is either one, not get out, or two, find a day where it bounces and thinks, this is the day I'm going to double up and catch up. No, those are all rookie mistakes. Do not double down, do not average down, have your loss, learn your lesson, keep a trading journal if you have to, and then you start to figure out what works for me. Oh, well, maybe I can't do this crazy in and out stuff like Barry does. I've got to be at my desk across town at 10 a.m. Maybe I should slow things down a little bit. And then you decide, well, that's the time frame I want to play in. I don't want to play in that fast sandbox. I've got other responsibilities. I can't sit in front of the screen all day. But then there are others who are ready to sit in front of the screen all day, and more power to you. You're going to have a lot faster learning curve, but you're going to use trade ideas and you're going to approach the market in a much different way, much faster time frames, probably 2-minute charts, 5-minute charts, even 1-minute charts. But that works for you, great. There's no one right way to do this. And then you start to realize, okay, I'm building on a process here, and you get back into the green. And then you start to realize that, as I said before, these charts are nothing more than footprints in the sand. All we're doing is we're trying to gauge market psychology, crowd psychology. Sometimes that means going opposite of what the analyst does. Sometimes that means going opposite of what the crowd does. Crowd isn't always right. But once you start to see the forest through the trees, better risk management, having your time frame, your plan, and then observing the psychology and realizing all you're doing is just playing group psychology and trying to catch little pieces out of the middle and take your pittance and move on to the next wave. That's where it all starts to come together. But to expect this to happen in 1, 2, 3 months, it's just not going to happen. Dave, yeah, 6 to 8 months, or they blew up their account. Um, I've seen so many different stories. One guy was an attorney, and it was during the dot-com bubble, and he had a couple of great first weeks, and he just kept levering up, and then he just never changed. And I thought, well, I don't know, maybe it's because he's an attorney and he just spent most of his time in school learning how to argue one side and not having an open mind to the opposite side. I don't know. So then I spoke to the developers about, the process of the trade of the week. You don't see me using alert windows. I don't need alerts coming at me 50 miles an hour. This is my heart list, my watch list my liked symbols, excuse me. I mentioned earlier, when you see some of these names coming through on that watcher, on the eye, excuse me, um, it probably behooves you to click the heart on those charts and start filling up a my liked symbol list so you can come back and just kind of quickly see your favorite stocks, what they're doing today. So sometimes I literally find the trade of the week on things I've been watching just from my heart watch list. Many of you know the A table. That one gave us Arch Coal, which is still on there. Hasn't worked off at short float, but that was a wonderful trade of the week. I derived that from that. And then the sector ETFs. You hear me go through this and talk a lot about the top-down approach. What's doing well, and that's kind of where we were on the trade of the week this week with the U.S. I'm sorry, with the energy and oil market, going strong into the weekend, and tech, going weak into the weekend. But as you see, things can turn and change on a dime just like that. So these are my main tools. And then, of course, the single stock window. And more importantly, if I'm doing something like I want to find a steel stock, well, X is the steel stock, like Andy said, but what else is in there? So the similar to tab on the single stock window is also used a lot by me. Well, hey, look at that new core. Andy talked about how new core has just been doing great and X has been lagging. So you can find additional ideas just by starting in a top-down approach, using a sector, using the big 600-pound gorilla stock in that sector, and then use the similar to, and you'll get some very interesting information. So that's pretty much where most of the ideas from the trade of the week come. There is, and I got to repeat, there's no one go-to golden goose scan. It's a compilation of many. Some weeks one scan works, some weeks another scan might not work. So you can't just rely on one thing for all periods. You're like a baseball manager, you know, and you see that your left-handed pitcher out there is struggling 6.5 innings. He's getting tight. He's not working anymore. So you got to switch it out and try something different. You are a manager of risk. You're a manager of your account, and you've got to stay nimble and not just get dogmatic and fall into one trap. You guys would know, of course, my daily chart is what I use, and a 15-minute chart. But don't forget the price alerts. The price alerts really are the 1-2 punch. So a lot of times in without trade of the week, but my normal trading method is to just find things. I like that one, I like that one, I like that one. Then I will go into my price chart, right click the price chart, and set a price alert. So I'm essentially, like Andy was doing, curating the curated. Trade Ideas top list gave me the curated, and I pick through there, and the ones that look interesting to me, I turn into an immediate real-time alert using our price alerts, and that will pop out before the chart even updates. Those windows pop up and tell you, hey, you wanted to know about this, here we are, what do you want to do? No, they don't look at the market. Is it up, is it down, is the sector still strong? I'll pass on a lot of them, but on some of them I won't. So that's another tool. And then again, the stock races. The way in which I use the stock races is pretty simple. You know, Barry and Chris have them on running like 3-minute quick races on their watch list to see what's popping out for scalping, quick moves. But for me, I'm just kind of interested in what is going to happen today in the morning in the sector window. So the market opens, I start running some races just to kind of get a feel for which one of these sectors, ETFs, want to start moving up the ladder. It's very much easier, that's why we built this, to have a visual race car grid than it is to try and follow individual symbols and letters going up or down this window. So that's pretty much, you know, what I got. That's not something that's really relevant. We're working with a possible Chinese app to give them some data, but that is, you know, the process. And Andy is a huge part of that process. He and I start talking at the close, even an hour before the close on Friday. What are you looking at? What do you like? What's looking strong? What sectors are good? And then we kind of create a short list. And then Saturday morning, we start looking at some more stuff. And usually by Saturday, I kind of know what the pick is going to be. And I just kind of marinate on some concepts, and then the email and the TikToks go out on Sunday and we start over again. So that's the process. Again, the takeaway for you guys is it's a slow process. Every trader has to go through kind of the same initiation, tuition, if you will, and it's up to you to how much tuition you want to pay. If you want to be like that lawyer I talked about and just keep buying heavy shares because it worked for him in his first week, he just never was able to adapt. And so you've got to recognize when that happens. Use the sim trader. Take a couple of days off if you're having a hard time, and use the Trade Ideas simulated trader. It's going to help a lot, get you confidence for, you know, back on the real money when you want to go back in. But, you know, it's like golfing. I said the golf gods and the trading gods share the same office space, and they have the same sense of humor. And trading, there's no reason why when you're playing golf, what do? You go to the range first, you practice, you warm up, you hit your shots, you see what you got. That's what our simulator is. It's the golf practice range, and it's there for a reason. So please don't forget to, you know, to use that. All right, we're all caught up on questions on that.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. All right, so some of you regulars, Dave and others, may remember that I had a scan that I showed you guys a couple weeks ago, and it's empty. And I said, you know, we looked at the, we back tested this thing. It's basically, well, here's a perfect example right here. This is slam into the 130. Okay, so this is my 130 line right there, the blue line. That's a 5-day moving average on my 15-minute chart. Is 130 periods. So I did a scan and I started back testing it. And the crazy thing is when I back tested it, I found that, well, let's just look at it first real quick. I found that this particular filter, S&P change has to be up at least 1.4%. We don't have a lot of days where the S&P is up 1.4% as a minimum. So this thing has always been gray. I've never had any returns, but today, well, that was the backdrop. And the reason I have that in there is I will show you. When we backtest this strategy, now remind you, this is a 3.5 day hold. So we're buying it and then holding it plus 3 days. Risk management is risking 2% on the downside to make 7% and close the trade. And let's just simulate sell because it's a contrarian scan. You guys remember I optimized this thing and I said, wow, it's so amazing how this is a great scan. I mean, look at this. 95 trades in 30 days, 58% winners. The average winner was $2.30 on a 3.5 day hold. Average loser was 76 cents on the 3.5 day hold. Strategy return was 19%. Projected annual over 1,000. You just don't see a lot. So you've got a couple of red days in here, but you got some really nice green days too. But watch what happens if I do this, just this one thing here. It's really weird. I don't get it, but this is one of those examples of having to just trust what the optimization and the data told you. I'm going to wipe out that S&P change today. Look at what it does to this back test. Just ruins it. Simulate sell. All right, nothing close to what we had. Nothing even close. I mean, it's okay, but it's not that good. So I noticed that when I optimized it using that I got very few results, but those very few results are certainly quality results. Let's put that value back in there and go ahead and look at today's history. So this is what, okay, you saw the back test on the first one that I ran, you guys, but these are the types of entries that back test was working. Again, this is going to be a short sell to hold for a few days. So towards the end of the day, they're all going to kind of look the same. They're going to be running up right into that blue line. Some of them will be above, some of them will be stuck at it, but APP was one of them. And is that PCRX got hung up and stuck at that 50 on a short sell? It could be an entry. BHC got hung up there for the most part at the end of the day. TTM, it's not all going to be perfect, but remember, the scan is built on where is it going to be 3.5 days from now. So we're using the strength of the market, and we're using the level of the 150, I'm sorry, the 5-day moving average right there to enter a short sell on these names. Cisco is an interesting name in there. So I will gladly share this with you. Just be aware that it might sit dormant for weeks at a time. But when it does spit out some stuff, it's likely going to be on a big push in the market, having a good day. And just, again, one more time, and by the way, if you guys want to start putting in some symbols, we'll take a look at symbols next, the charts you want to see. Just to leave you with this before I share the scan with you, maybe it's worth having something like this. And by the way, I was getting audible alerts. I'm like, where the hell is that alert coming from? Because I wasn't used to it. So I have an audible alert for a reason, to say, hey, this thing's coming alive. You might want to pay attention to this thing today. So again, there's the back test, 95 trades over 30 days. I think it was 30 days. Let's double check that. Yeah, 30 days. So 95 trades over 30 days, giving these types of returns. It's a short selling strategy. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow with those names I just showed you. All I know is that this data shows us going back 30 days. If you short sell these names and hold on to them for a couple, 2 or 3, 4 days, you should be okay. All right, so I'm going to share this scan, and yeah, you guys are welcome to start throwing in some symbols now, and I can finish up here with a couple of symbols that you want to look at. Save and share, and this is the slam into the 130. I'm putting this in the chat window, you guys, not the questions window. There's the cloud link to that scan that I just looked at. Just remember, put it in the corner, put it on a shelf, and when it starts doing something, maybe pay attention and watch and get some confidence. But that back test alone was one of the more quality swing trading back tests I've ever seen. It's very hard to get a swing trade to perform like that. The farther you go out in days, the harder it is to get those kind of, does it work in the other direction? I don't think so, Dave, but I'll tell you what, you have the scan now. All you got to do is right click, and what you would do is you would duplicate it, and anybody else that wants to duplicate it, then flip it. configure, blip, go like that, nothing in there. Just for the heck of it, let's just see, back test, everything being the same, simulate buy. Yes, Jay, it's being recorded. It'll be on our YouTube channel tomorrow. Nothing really to write home about there, Dave. So you're welcome to play with it. I think it's just been in the way this market's been trending down. There's been a lot of things just really going lower while the market indexes don't. So it's kind of showing the underpinnings of the market, what's been happening. All right, let's see here.
I was just getting tickled.
What's
You
that?
sounded like Hal over there. I don't think so, Dave.
I don't
He's
think so,
playing.
Dave. I'm sorry, Dave.
Yeah, sorry, Dave.
I'm sorry, Dave. That scan won't work. All right. So if you haven't put in a couple tickers, we can do so now. We'll look at a couple minutes here. First one is APP. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you looking to short APP on a big rise? No, I'm not going to short anything for a lot of reasons. My account's going to have to go dormant for a few days. I'm going to be out of town and it's transferring, so I'm not doing anything for a few days. So back test Tesla. There's no way to back test a simple Mustafa. There's no way to back test a simple symbol. But what you can do is you can go to our website. And on our website, I will show you something real quick here. It's called Stocks Like This. Basically go to the Education Center, I believe. Is that right? No, you go to Support, and it's in the Traders area. Support, Traders area, Stocks Like This. So all you would do is you would put in TSLA. You'd say, I want to look at between 9:30 and whatever, and you click. What did Tesla look like this morning at 9:50 Eastern during a 5-minute scan? You'd submit that, and it reverse engineers and tells you, well, it had a new high ask. It had all these filters being met. So I would point you there, Mustafa, and anybody else that wants to input and get a reverse engineering output type of a thing. Stocks like this on the traders help.
We hope to have that technology at some point where you can
Yeah, we can do it on the fly.
Yeah.
Just pop it in and get it on the fly. Yeah. All right, vet was definitely on the radar and still is. Vet looks similar. Oh, it's got earnings this morning. Did it have earnings today or the pre-market? I can't tell. That might not be right.
It might not be.
After hours, it's not doing anything. Look how it's riding the 5-day average. Beautiful. I would say this. I like vet until it gives away this 5-day moving average or the 10 and the 20. It's in clean air up here, and if anything, you could even probably make a case that it tried to break out of that wedge right there. So I do like vet. I'll give it the thumbs up. Can't short sell. Yeah, I've got some accounts where I can't short sell either, Dave. I hate it. 401k doesn't let you go short. Okay, it looks like we don't have a lot. DFEN, if this is the last one, we'll bring in Scott. If anybody else has one, we can look at it. But DFEN looks nice. What's this? It's aerospace bull, so it's a triple. So this thing is going to be very, very volatile. But it doesn't matter because the chart is telling us it's just building higher base camps and it's kind of doing a little cup and handle there. It's trading in clean air. There's no moving averages affecting it. Very big level right there. If you want to go out on the bigger time frame, you could mark that level up. But then after that, it's going to be looking at that level, the 27 level. All you can do is look left when you don't really know where the next level of resistance is going to be, and then you can start to see where they come into play. I guess that's it. So thanks everybody. We're right on time, and I'll bring the slides up and Scott can walk us out. We already did that one. You can do that one.
Yeah, all right, sounds good. So if you have interactive brokerage, just know that you can connect your account directly to Trade Ideas through our Brokerage Plus module and do your trading, manage your portfolio, do automated trading, one-click trading. Just go to trade-ideas.com/IBKR to learn more about opening one of those. We've got a code, spring is here, is a code good this month for 15% off your first month or year of Trade Ideas, or any upgrade from standard to premium if you decide you want those extra features, so go ahead and grab that. And if you have any questions, you can find Steve on Twitter at TISTG. Also find us on YouTube at Trade Ideas. We are Trade Ideas Pro on Facebook. And Steve has been active on LinkedIn. I mean, not LinkedIn, TikTok. He's at Today Trader on TikTok. So check out his videos. He's been putting several of those out a week. Been getting good responses. And any questions, email info@tradeideas.com. It goes to our help desk. So we'll have the recording of this up later on tonight or tomorrow, and you get an invite from GoToWebinar tomorrow to find it on our playlist. So thank you, Steve. Thank you, Andy. Have a good afternoon.
All right. See you next time.
Thanks, everybody. I'll see you on Thursday. I'll be talking more about the eye.